This video is going to talk about how percentages look, visual representations. So we want to know what part of the block is shaded in three different ways, as a fraction, a decimal, and a percent. So we know that this is out of 100. So the fraction will be out of 100. The decimal, we will adjust that as well. That's going to be 2 decimal places. And the percentage will have, a percent sign. So if there are 100 blocks here and there are 3 full columns and 9 of another, that means that there are 3 tenths shaded, 3 full tens, and then 9 hundredths that are not accounted for because there are 100 blocks total. So you might say that this is 39 over 100, or 39%. They want you to find 25% of each shape in different ways. There's only so much I can do with what I'm here right now, but let's take a look, and we can see that we might cut the shapes with a T. We might go ahead and that would work on this, that would work here, that would work here, that would work here. You might also go ahead and you might cut it a different way. We might cut it diagonal, which will work on some of them a lot nicer than on others. You might go ahead and you might cut going straight across, which will work on some of these, but will not work so nicely on others. You can see that the circle and the diamond, it does not work so well on. You might also see that it's really not very neat at all, but that's kind of the way that it is right now. They want to know what fraction of each of these is shaded. So this has 10 parts total, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts shaded. So this is 7 tenths shaded. This is 1 part shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. There are 20 parts here, and we're going to pretend like they're exactly equal. So out of 20, there are I could count all of the shaded. I'm going to count 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. There are 14 parts shaded because there are 16 parts not. Over here, that's the same shape. It's out of 20, which is why obviously I wrote the number 12. It's out of 20, and there are 5, 10, 11 parts shaded. Over here we have 5 by 5, so out of 25 there are 9 parts shaded. They want us to then turn this into decimals and percentages. So first we're going to make these out of 100 each. So we're going to give all of these denominators of 100. We've been talking about this for a while. 5 times 20 equals 100. 1 times 20 equals 20. 20 times 5 equals 100. 11 times 5 is 55. 25 times 4 is 100. 9 times 4 is 36. 20 times 5 is 100. 14 times 5 is 70. So there we have our fractions. Now we can identify the percentages. 70%. 70%. Ooh, look at that, 2 70%. 36%. 20%. 55%. Now that we have those percentages, we can turn percentages. We can also look at the fraction to turn these into decimals, because now they're all over 100. So 1, 2, this would be 0.70, or just 0.7. Same thing over here, 0.7, the math doesn't change. 20 over 100 makes 0.20, or just 0.2. 55 over 100 makes 0.55. And 36 over 100 makes 0.36. Oh my gosh, a number line. Check that out. So they want to add fractions and percentages to each number line. Our first number line has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts to make a whole, which means that it's split into fifths. So that would be 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. And from our work over here, we know that 1/5 is the same as 20%. So let's go ahead and put 20% here. 2/5, 40, 3/5, 60, 4/5, 80. This would be 100% here and 0% here. Why am I not putting the percentage sign? Because we're not going to be able to read it if I do. Over here, we have the number line split into 4 parts. So this would be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. We know from working with quarters that 100 cents makes $1. 1 out of 4 quarters is 25, 50, 75%. If there are 5 parts in 1/2, how many parts are in a whole? So let's look at this number line. We know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts here. How many parts would that make in a whole? Well, if we take this and we extend it out and we basically double it, that means that now instead of 5, there are 10. So this would be 5 out of 10, and then we would continue on with our fractions. So they want you to divide these lines up. This is kind of an eyeball thing. It's not something that I can really ask you to do from where you're at, but go ahead and think about where you would put the lines. And then I'm going to put them in about when you've unpaused. Welcome back. So 25%, if half is here, 25% is probably here. 75%, halfway is about here. So 75% is half of that. 50%, that's half. That's about half. 75% of half of this line is here. This is probably 75%. Is that exact? No. But is it close? Hopefully. This line is 1/3 of a longer line segment. It's part of a whole. So to make a whole, we would extend out another third and another third after that. And this would be one whole. If we were to extend this out, this is one part of a 4-part line segment. So we need 4 parts to make a whole. So 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts. And you can even show 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, or 1 whole. This is half of a line segment, which tells you that there's 1 part and there are 2 parts that make the whole. So I'm going to extend it out for the second part. How many times would you extend this number line? If you said 3, you're correct. You're also talking to a video. So we're going to extend this out so that there are 1, 2, 3 parts. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. What about this line segment? This is 2/3 of a line segment, which means there are 2 parts in here. Here is 1/3. Here is 2/3. So to make 3/3, we only need 1 more part. And it has to be where I separated it before. Line's not drawn to scale. What about this 3/5? First of all, if this is 3/5, how many times do I have to split the line that's already drawn to make 3 parts? Because I still need 2/5 and 1/5, which means I need to split this twice and then do 2 more times, 1 for 4/5, 1 for 5/5. Yeah, that's going to be difficult. So let's go back and let's take a look at these exercises, but we're not going to do it exactly the way that they suggest. 2/5 of a line segment, you would have to split it up to get the 1/5. So if this is 2/5, we're just not going to draw it to scale. Here would be the split for 1/5, and then you'd split it 3 more times. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. For the 8-inch line segment, it would be 4/7. So if this is 4 parts of 7, you still need 3, 2, 1. So I would split this 3 ways, and then you need to get to 7 parts to make a whole. 5, 6, 7. And that's roughly what it should look like. If I have 80% of a line segment, that means 80% out of 100 is the same thing as 8 out of 10, is the same thing when we simplify as 4 out of 5. So that means there are 5 parts that make a whole, and our line is at 80% or 4/5 of it. 40% of a line segment would be 40 over 100, simplified is 4/10 by 2 over 2 would be 2/5. 40% would be right there. Ladies and gentlemen, please have a fantastic rest of your day.